So the first thing that I did, because I don't trust myself to write freehand letters that neat, is I chose to pull out my iPhone and a projector here at our church, and I took the plywood inside in a darker area and I projected the font that I wanted onto the board, and then I just traced it with a Sharpie. And so anything like a laptop or an iPhone or whatever, and use some type of presentation software, like for me I used Keynote, and got the font that I wanted and hooked it up to the projector and projected it right on there and traced it out. And now what I'm doing outside right now is actually cutting out the letters. And so this is kind of a rough look, because we're going to sand these down and make them look a lot more polished. But you can see that we've got the L, and so now we're working on the rest. Now, one of the things that I feel like is a good idea, never done this before, but I've got an H here that I've traced out, and once I cut it, I'm actually going to lay it right over here and make another H out of the same one. The reason that I'm doing that is because there's going to be, 1, 2, 3, 4 H's on this same side of the sign. If they're all different, then you're going to know it. So I'm going to use the H that I cut out, trace it exactly, and then cut the same thing three more times after that, so that I can keep it, as much unity as possible. So if there's a mishap on an L or an I or something like that, not that big a deal. But when you got 4 of the same letter and they all look different, somebody's going to notice, and it's not the end of the world, but want it to be as neat as possible. We're doing this on a budget, but at the same time, definitely want it to look as professional as possible on a budget. So once you get through cutting, you got to sand it. That's what he's doing right now. So since that's what it says. So what's it say again? All right, so once you get those cut, what we're doing is just taking those and laying them out here and tracing them out. And where I've got long runs, I'm using the edge so that it's nice and straight. But other than that, just laying them down, tracing them out. I'm gonna cut those out. And of course, he's working on sanding, and we're gonna sand these down. Our letters are sanded down and, in our opinion, ready to paint. You can see our big ones over there. They're about 2 foot tall, and then these smaller ones are about 8 inches tall. And once we get out there to the sign and get it done, these are actually gonna be, more centered top, and this is gonna go all the way across the bottom. So we're just simply painting with some white gloss Rust-Oleum, and we'll probably do 2 coats on these, let them dry, and then also do our sign while we're waiting on these to dry. All right, here's what we're painting. We're priming the entire thing because the entire thing's getting painted. So let's do it. Our sign is painted and ready to go. We're ready for letters. That dark blue with that gray looks a lot cleaner, and our letters are on our trailer here because we didn't want to scuff them up by lugging them up here. Let me show you what we've done. There's our letters. And this is an 8-foot board, and that's about a 10-foot sign, and so we're trying to center it on that sign, and I think this is probably the easiest way that's going to be a straight edge for us and serve as a marker. So we've laid out our letters in the beginning of our L, I, G. See what we've done? We've made marks at the beginning of each letter. Put a reminder of what letter that is, just in case we get mixed up. And set it up there, put it on. We're going to use some adhesive. We're hoping that adhesive will hold to this, because we don't want to put any screw holes or nails or anything like that in it. So let me show you what we're doing to center it. We found the center of the sign. It's about 10 foot wide. That board's 8 foot, and we're going to center the word Lighthouse Church on there. And so you can see we've got our center marked, and we have a mark actually on the side as well. We're wanting to keep a 4-inch gap between here and there. So that's what we did with the board. The board is going to serve as a straight edge for us. We just took some short metal screws and popped that in there. We'll make a tiny hole in it, but it's going to help us out a lot by doing this. So now board marked with the L, the I starts here, and then the G and the H and so on and so forth. And we're just gonna use some adhesive. And you can see the adhesive right here. So we're gonna use that, brush it on the back of the letters and put it on and hope it stays. Oh, let me show you this, the finished product. And look, we had some amazing folks in our church that made this flower bed come to life under the sign. A lot different. So make your own letters, save some big money, and get you some people that know how to do flower beds. Good stuff. Thanks for watching.